It's 6 o'clock. We'll devote the meeting to order. We start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. You do welcome. We can just go on quickly and tell us who you are, and we want to start going. Just introduce ourselves to each other.
Connor Dean, Vice Chair.
Janine Esposito from the Hive.
Frederick Chu from the Hive. Kevin Goslin, Commissioner.
I'm Michelle Hermson. I'm Merit Department Coordinator for the Town of Fairfield.
Sam Goldstein, Commissioner.
Tom McDonald, I'm the Chairman of the Commission.
And Mark Barnhart, Director of Community Economic Development, your Master of Ceremonies.
Oh, yeah. And on Zoom, we have Katie Lane from the Quick Center. Okay, I've got a packed agenda here, so we move right along. Everybody's got a copy of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes. Kevin, second?
Second.
You're a little too late, Sam.
Always.
Not that comment. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, it passes unanimously. We're gonna have, we got some guest presenters here today. I met with them earlier on. I know what Janine, I didn't have a pleasure meeting Frederick tonight. They've also met in the past with Shu, so they've met with Matt before. So I gave them the time today to do a quick presentation. Quick.
Yep.
Because we have things to do, and
Yeah.
go from there. Oh, but before I start the presentation, everybody's been a copy of, we got the naming the Innovative Art Challenge contest. You all have a copy with the names on there. If you could put down your first, second, and third choices. And after they're done with the presentation, give them the mark, and that'll expedite the time that we have to get that done. Katie, if you have those three names,
Sure.
perfect. Okay.
Katie, can you see the presentation on your screen?
I can.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No further ado, let's take it away, Janine.
Okay, I apologize, my voice is somehow heading towards laryngitis. We're gonna quickly take you through the Hive, which is a new arts organization. And just quickly, there's 3 things that go into the Hive. So Frederick and I ran Beechwood Arts in Westport for 12 years. And we ran 110 arts immersion salons during that time. And one of the things, we brought together music, art, film, performance, and one of the things that we did was we always had facilitated community conversations that were all stimulated by the arts. And so when we sold the Beechwood venue in Westport, we decided to start the Hive, and that's one of the things that led into the Hive. I have a career as an innovation strategy person. Hey, Matt. An innovation and strategy career, and I mostly worked with Fortune 500 companies, but then I shifted when innovation became ubiquitous and started working with nonprofits. And I ended up getting a grant to work with 64 libraries across 15 states, helping them to do innovation. And so that kind of teaching organizations how to better understand their communities and innovate is also a part of the Hive. And Frederick, I'll let you speak to your own.
So I'm a concert pianist and I teach at Carnegie Mellon University. And I developed a series of workshops that take the training that I went through myself for peak performance to apply that to other pianists, other artists, creators, but then just people in general, how to perform using a body, mind, heart approach to strategizing, self-knowledge, meditation, and things like that.
So basically, those are all the things that went into the Hive. We figured we had it in us to do one more nonprofit, and so we figured we'd take everything that we do and put it into one. Our values embody the ethos of a beehive. We did actually check that out. We really wanted this to be about community, so we looked up definition of community in the dictionary. And it actually was something interesting because it was all about people who either lived in the same place or shared common interests, shared common goals and attitudes. And that's not what we were going for. We feel like that's what's kind of defining, over-defining people these days. So we looked up sense of community. That was spot on. It was really working with people so they felt a sense of belonging. And so that's, again, essence of the Hive. So the vision is to reveal a broader sense of community, defined simply by being human. And the mission is to build a Hive partner network. So to work with other organizations and nonprofits. We know a lot of them because of the work that we did at Beechwood. We did a lot of collaboration there. And to work with them to basically to add conversation to the arts, and to do that across Fairfield County, actually. And then it's also to support the Hive Partner Network with some of this professional development that we could offer. So a Hive experience out in the world looks like this. It includes a theme which is centered around aspects of being human, and we choose that together with the network. An experience, which is then some kind of engaging arts culture learning program, and that's what you means the Hive Partner Network provide. And then personal engagement, and that's where at the end, so for example, the Norwalk Conservatory of the Arts is doing a performance of Rent, and they've asked us to then come in and do a talk back with the audience afterwards. At the Westport Library, we curated a storytelling event with the community, and afterwards we had a full conversation with the audience, and those are the kinds of things that we'll bring. And then we also capture the whole conversation, and it becomes part of the database of experiences that the network can use. So this is what so basically we're trying to build a human pollinator pathway across Fairfield County, and this is kind of what that looks like visually. And if you think about it, if just 2 organizations per town joined, and each one of them had a facilitated conversation of 20 people once, you'd have 520 people that would have participated in the same conversation on the same theme. We've now spoken with 48 executive directors across 11 towns of Fairfield County, and the vast majority of those are interested in participating in some way. And that, that was the key for us, because if no one was interested in doing this, we wouldn't have gone forward with it. So that was a big key. There's 3 things that we do. One is to have Hive-fueled arts immersion. So basically, for performances on the stage or even on the screen, they could be pre-programmed, purchased, however people program now. We would add to that this conversation and the capturing of the conversation. And again, that would start to go across the community. The second thing is these small group conversations where we facilitate over a meal a small group, and this could be used for a lot of things. It could be applied to lots of different groups. Community conversations, if you happen to have a theme in your organization, you can then have community conversations around that theme. You can use it for, we've had a lot of people wanting to do it for donor dinners, so that it gives donors a deeper experience, a better connection. Teen and youth groups often really want to have conversations with their peers, but the facilitation of that really allows them to get into it without feeling awkward. And then just it adds steps to groups of any kind, again, with arts, fueled by the arts around a theme. Sorry. And then the last thing is something, once we have enough people who participated in these conversations, we could have idea swarms of large groups of people, and everyone who's part of the network could bring a team. We're having a Hive Partner Network Conference to determine the best way for us to work together. That's gonna be on October 30th from 3 to 6 p.m. So if anyone's interested in learning more about it or coming to the conference, organizations are gonna work in like groups, and we're gonna determine what the best way is to work together as a network to get this kind of stuff out to Fairfield County. So right now, 29 organizations are coming. And we do have room for more if someone wants to do that. And I think you're coming, right?
Is it
I think
the
so.
30th?
It is. From
Working it out with New York job, but yes. I
Okay.
hope so.
If not, you could send somebody.
That'd be great.
Okay. So that's the Hive. That's an overview of the Hive coming up, so.
Thank you, Janine. I know that I'm familiar, and so is Matt. Questions for Janine and Frederick?
What are some ways that some of the people you've spoken to feel that this is going to be beneficial to their organization? What's some of the feedback you've received, why they're interested?
Well, I think they're interested in two things, really. I mean, I think that certainly, you know, our big view is that there's going to be collaboration and connection with people across Fairfield County. But there also, in many towns, still needs to be more connection even within the town itself. So that's one thing that people feel it gives them something else and something additional to bring out, and also it can deepen an experience, a performance, rather than going to the performance and leaving. There's a kind of interaction between everybody, and so there's a connection. Also, people really liked the collaboration on something like this with the network itself. There's of course a lot of organizations that we as executive directors belong to, but there was something kind of that people liked about being able to come together with other EDs in a way, and Matt, you might be able to speak to this, just kind of in a way that is more open to, let's see what comes out of this, let's see what comes up. So, and then they like the PD. So those are the three things that they thought would be beneficial.
You talked about members, there's a membership fee or something, correct?
Well, there will be a membership fee, but there will also be you know, depending on what people ask us to do, there will be probably fees for that as well.
Right.
And then there will be lots of fundraising on our part, like every other nonprofit. So,
Also, just speaking to that, to me, it's like, I could see a lot of benefits, but I remember one thing we spoke about was for me, it really helped me get centered on our mission and vision, because it was doing it alongside other EDs, and just to look at it from the community perspective and kind of where we intersect in the essence of our mission. I feel like Jeannie and Fred are great to bringing things to essence and finding where we all meet in all our nonprofit organizations. So it helped me look at the mission and vision outside of our niche.
yeah, and Matt, I think that the thing that you were at, there's also this opportunity to take one of these human-centered themes and have everyone programmed to that. And if everyone's programming to that, that could be a great publicity thing. Say, hey, we're doing, you know, see how everyone's interpreting resilience across the different organizations, for example. And then that gives everyone, you know, a way to tap into that theme. And then we can go around like, you know, and the other thing, when you're an ED, you don't have time for hardly anything outside of what your mission is. And we know that. And we can go around and facilitate conversations, like kind of be the, you know, they're the flowers and we can go out and be the bees.
Yeah, the organization cultivates their flower, but then it's just standing by itself. And so we go around, since we don't have a space and we're creating a network, we have as our mission to go around and cross-pollinate between organizations. Sometimes hard to justify spending time doing a collaboration when you have all the stuff that you can do just within your own organization. So that's our vision.
So if anybody on the commission represents an organization or anybody on the commission wants to go, they can go to the, it's a dinner on the 10th, on the 30th?
It's actually a work session, so we're doing some presenting, but most of the people will have seen this presentation.
Mhm.
So, and we have done some surveying of the interested organizations. We'll be doing a share out of that. And then we will be breaking people into teams, so they, because different kinds of organizations would want to work with the network differently. So we're laying down the groundwork of what options will we give people?
On 30th, you said 6 to 10?
3 to 6.
3 to 6, I was thinking later in the day. 3 to 6, and where's the location?
It's gonna be at the Carriage Barn Art Center we're hosting.
All right, any other questions? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you so much for having us, we really
It was nice to
appreciate
meet you, and I asked you last time if she was the queen bee. She said, oh, no.
Yeah, I was thinking-
What would I be? King bee, I'm just a drone.
That's what she said, it was Jones.
I think that's the right answer. When you-
Happy wife, happy life, right?
Exactly.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I know Mark passed out the Innovative Art Challenge naming contest. I don't know if you guys have the opportunity to fill those out. Because he wants to try to get this done by the end of the meeting. So if you've done that, you can hand it in. If you.
You want us to write up the names?
No, just numbers.
Okay.
You got the correspondence? Yeah, I have the correspondence.
Okay.
And then we'll announce the winner at the end of the show.
Well, I think we're probably gonna have finalists and we'll have to have a
Oh,
conversation.
yeah, okay.
Should we get recognition?
Are there any extra pens floating around? Thanks. Got it, thank you.
Upcoming arts, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, really.
Upcoming arts mixer. I know Christine, you talked about possibly having one, and Matt, you're supposed to be due December?
November,
November?
yeah, November 3rd, I think it's coming up, or 2nd or
I
3rd.
don't know. So it's gonna be November 3rd?
Let me just confirm that, November 2nd. The event is Lisa Fisher, a performer, most known as one of the featured backup singers for the Rolling Stones. Amazing artist in her own right. 8 o'clock Saturday, November 2nd. I believe we're in the lounge 6:30. 50% off tickets for the community and some food and cash bar.
So the show will start at 6:30?
That's what I had. Mark, does that sound right to you?
That sounds right to me,
Yeah.
subject to is that enough time?
Yeah, it's all approved. I just want to confirm. Yeah, so 6:30, showtime at 8 o'clock. And like I said, 50% off tickets for any mixer participants.
Perfect. And I want to thank Katie and the Quick Center for our last mixer. I thought it went very, very well. You want to talk a little bit about that, Katie?
Yeah, it was a great turnout, in my opinion. And we had people that came that were really interested in connecting, and I felt like they did connect. So hopefully we get more people and more interaction as we keep doing these.
Very good host. All right, marketing and communication update, Kevin.
I don't really have anything, but I did email, I was just trying to think about how can we have content beyond just what we have and how can we highlight our stuff and do it in a way that's kind of fun but simple. Don't have a lot going, right? But can you go to your email? Like I sent you an email, is that possible or no? Yeah, like 5 minutes ago. No, right before I walked in here.
Let me start with Wi-Fi, because that's.
Anyway, maybe I'll just pass my phone around then. But I think,
There it is.
yeah, so I think I could give these solid, I sprung for it, I think it was like $3. You know, the little plastic pointy fingers, you know, that you've seen before. And
That's profiling different art.
yes, with like a theme, you know, again, because we struggle to, how are we going to consistently generate content without it taking a lot of time? So I volunteered to go and take a bunch of these, but I bring these silly little things to the next meeting if everyone likes it. They're in the neon colors of our kind of design palette. And it's just, look at that art! Exclamation point. Sounds silly, but it's
Okay
cute.
by me.
It's really cute and fun. And it could be the food, you know, look at that art on the plate, you know, look at that art on stage, look at that art there, you know, look at that art, some graffiti, you know, it could be all these different things. And it takes about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Artist Spotlight series will take us a little bit more time to generate.
That's what I mean. Those are like in
Once
depth.
we get enough in the can, we can then move ahead with it. But we're just, trying to get that launched. So I think.
Yeah, like I could go and take a half dozen of these and like
And then
an hour,
fill
and
something.
then I'll bring these things and people bring the next one. You're out and about. You just take one. And
I think it's a great idea. I mean, I've had conversations with Mary Alice in my office to,
yeah,
how can we continue?
this is a way that anyone can do it, and it has that like
Yep.
fun. I think we want to make sure we're always communicating that this an energy.
Everyone okay? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. That's what I bring, plastic pointy fingers.
Well, very nice.
That's what I do.
Thank you very much. Move on to old business. Mark, you want to talk about the agricultural district update?
So we're working on the application. We hope to have that completed by, this time next month. It's, I think most of the legwork's been done. We'll need to touch base with the Cultural Alliance of Fairfield County, our designated regional service organization, to assist us with that. Once we submit it, then we would anticipate the Council of the Arts and the Cultural Alliance arranging a tour for a proposed district, which will help to arrange. But, from my standpoint, there's, I don't know, there's anything. The only thing I think we were asking for you on feedback, and I've only gotten a few responses, is I'll send it out again. I wanted to include, New London had a profile of the Arts Commission, which is the cultural commission for purposes of the application. And part of it was to understand how the membership here, and I've made some determinations as to how you fit into the various categories for representation. But I would ask you to take a look at that. And if you don't think that that's appropriate, or you think I may have missed something, please let me know. And if you do have a very short bio, like a 1-paragraph thing, send it to me so I can incorporate that in the application. I thought it was a really nice thing that New London did to kind of introduce the commission. It kind of fits with our overall theme of some of the other work that we're doing. So I'll circulate that again for those that may have missed.
I was in New London a couple weeks ago and I went to the website, and then I looked around and because I had some time, I was getting a car fixed. And so I was like driving around. So it was helpful to go around the town, but certainly when you got there, it wasn't like any big signage, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would not expect that.
Yeah.
It's kind of consistent with what we informed. There's not going to be something that says, this is a mentoring or into the culture.
I didn't see any.
This is the only place that arts and culture can exist.
I didn't see anything with it.
And we want music anytime we walk in and out of.
But the site, it was good. It got me to drive around and go to a few different places. And so.
Well, they did a nice job of the application in terms of practice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mark. Friends of Fairfield Arts Council, Sam. C.
I know, so let's move that C into a G.
Oh, CMC's not here, so you're out of order.
Well, no, you can't. Hang on a second, look. Mine says G. How quick? So I actually talked to Matt. Matt and I met with the Fairfield, First Church of Fairfield, which will change it to the meeting house. And one of the things we're waiting for is the response. Now I met with them again, and the response was, until the Friends of Fairfield start to become a C Corps where they have money to pay for, they're open to have anyone come in there, just set the dates up. So we just to start to formulate the Friends of Fairfield, they're willing to host once someone starts to set up dates and get people together to go there. So, I think that's really nice of them, and they're doing it because they want to be participatory. They're right here. They are an art venue. They're going to be part of the art culture district, and they want to get involved. So there you go. Now what?
The questions for Sam?
No, I got a question for everyone else. That was my question.
Oh, you can't ask us questions.
So I think that was really nice of them to do. Now we just have to, get people together and start to get someone who's going to actually lead or be the first contact for the Friends of Fairfield, so we could start developing that, at least with a physical space, and also obviously to start to do the digital space, so.
In that same vein, there are other groups that obviously have friends groups established. I've talked to Scott Jerzombek from the Fairfield Public Library. They have a long established Friends of the Fairfield Public Library. There's an operating agreement between that and the board of trustees of the library. So I think that would help provide maybe some suggested framework or structure, as well as define the relationship between a friends group as well and this organization, which I think is important. We need to make sure that we understand what we bring to the table, what our roles are. I will say that when we put out in the last newsletter, just kind of an invitation for anyone that's interested in volunteering or assisting in the work of the commission, we've got a pretty healthy response.
Oh, we did?
8 or 9 people.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Among whom most of them were self-identified as artists, and they had very specific areas that they had selected as something they wanted to assist in, which is kind of an even distribution. People that were interested in working on public art, working on mentoring youth, all kinds of different things that we've kind of posed just to get an idea. So again, I think there's certainly interest within the community to be more engaged, more involved. So hopefully we'll be able to tap into that. But before we do, I want to make sure that we kind of define what the expectations are.
Could we get a copy of the library's operation agreement? It's just a letter agreement.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet with Scott hopefully, and
If you get me that, I'll start looking and adapting and see what we can come up with.
Great.
And do some more research on other places, so to see what they have.
Yeah, there's certainly more.
I need makeup and stuff.
To do this.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool.
Thank you very much. 24-25 work plan, Matt.
All right, just following up on this, there's a lot of coverage on this already from everything that's being discussed, but basically this is just the follow-up on that initial big conversation at FTC. We listened to the community, now we want to let them know where we've taken all their interest seriously and just putting it into some kind of work plan. So I'm just going to update where we are with it, again, filling in, a lot of blanks have been filled in. So here we are. So the challenge is one of these, youth and education initiatives that people ask for. That I know we're gonna get into, and we have some action item around it today. We talked about promoting the Arts Commission publicly, as well as creating and tying that in with public art. So we've talked about sidewalks, sales, street fair, things that already exist in the town. How can we add some art to that? There's already some more formalized, like live music, for example, and a booth for the commission. That could be collaborative. I know Lou is there. Maybe some tie-in with Make Music Day, or at least some of the artists from Make Music Day. There's an opportunity there. We talked about extending that to an outdoor concert series, this lunchtime series pilot, through the seasons where it's hospitable to be outside, just like a small lunchtime concert series in local parks or public spaces, a very, a scaled down version, but something consistent that people can expect. We talked about the Sustainable Connecticut certification. We can follow up on that, but then we talked about artist meet and greets was another thing people wanted. So the mixers seem to be a version of that. But we talked about organizing meet and greets or open houses with various artistic, groups. But maybe the mixers cover that. That's open for discussion. I'm just thinking spaces and mentorship are two things we put on the back burner. Although with First Church of Fairfield, there's potential there, but those we determined to be the higher ticket items that would take time or more obstacles to getting them done. And so it's just next steps is budgeting out these small things and seeing how, I have already talked to Mark about some of this public music stuff. I think we can enlist other partners fairly easily. It's low cost, low commitment. So basically those are kind of the bite-sized ways
the one of the things the public are, we talked about the park there, and we talked about a wrap, sorry, this is one thing.
I'll get to it in a second.
Okay, so you're gonna get to that.
Oh, Mark is gonna rap?
Yeah.
Nice.
Going with the Australian.
So yeah, the welcome to Fairfield kind of mural, like some center of town sort of public welcome or statement. It came up in the first meeting with that idea of the train station. So hopefully that makes sense as a bunch of actionable items that are related to all the priorities that came out of that thing. And obviously we're tackling them one at a time. The competition is a focus currently, and the mixers and.
I think I'd like to work with, continue working with Matt and then kind of formulate this into some document that we can all react to.
Yeah.
In preparation for budget season. So November, December is typically when, departments have to submit their budget requests. And, I think we definitely want to take advantage of that opportunity this year, but we'll need to have, the first question I think we've talked about before is, if we give you the money, what are you going to use it for? So we have to be able to define how that relates back to our overall plan and the feedback we received to that workshop. So I'll continue to work on that. I also did receive some very helpful information from Lynn Moore, who provided some AI generated content, which was somewhat helpful in terms of structuring a thought, but clearly it needs the human part, which is how to set priorities. And I think that's what we've been struggling with a little bit here, is understanding what our role is, as well as where we are in this evolutionary process and what we can reasonably do within a fairly short time period, given the resources that we have to commit. So I think that's what Matt was trying to articulate. So we'll try to flush that out a little bit more. For
simplify. I know it's all
next month, so that as we go into budget season, we can come up with an informed request that's backed up by some information.
Well, one of the things that we used to have in town was the gazebo, right? We used to have music at the gazebo. Okay, is there anything that we can hang the Fairfield Arts Commission hat on?
There's other things we can brand. I prefer not to. There's things that we can, and I'll get to that. I think where there's an opportunity to, where we're adding value to it, sure. But the Fairfield Parks and Rec Commission already runs a summer concert series. We can certainly ask, but what is it that we bring to the table? We're trying to enhance something. Yeah. So I think there'll be opportunities for us to create more awareness around the work of the commission, but it should be something that we're helping.
Or if so they're there. So in other words, one of the thoughts we can have as a commission is how can we add value to that so we can put our name with it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's cool. I like that.
So one thing that Matt did mention is, and I've had some conversations relative to, everyone's familiar with the electrical conduit boxes. They're fairly ugly looking things.
Right.
Yeah, let's paint them.
We can't paint them.
Oh, wow.
Electrician.
Other
So
towns,
I follow the rules a little bit. These are not mine. They're not the town's. They're in the state right away. And so there are actually guidelines that have been established by the Department of Transportation for aesthetic objects and treatments within the Connecticut Department of Transportation right away.
Beautiful name.
So, I'm going to go through the process of contacting DOT and securing permission to do a demonstration project downtown. There's a very nice, not very nice, but there's a nicely located utility box at Sherman Green, right in the center of town. It'd be great to do a treatment. You can't paint it, but you can wrap it. So we can create art and then create a vinyl sticker, essentially, that wraps the utility box itself. I've seen it done. And I don't know that we have enough money to do a whole series of them right now, but I thought, let's start with one. Do a quick demonstration of what is possible. Brand it with the Fairfield.
Make it an event. Yeah. It's like an event.
And we'll see where it goes. And then if that might be an easy way for us to create more public art, by doing it under the umbrella of the Fairfield Arts Commission, issue a call to artists to submit artwork within a theme for these boxes, and then we would RFP to the company that actually would do the vinyl wrap. So we would, we would have this, that's the money cost. So the art, perhaps we would get, donations, if you will, just in terms of having some recognition, or maybe there's
I would hope we could at least pay that. I hope we could at least pay them a nominal amount of.
So, we haven't determined that.
If you get it as $100 and your credit, your name
That would
and
be fine.
website, whatever, but
I agree.
in the arts community to not pay someone
Yeah,
it's like the oldest saw of the world, like, hey, we'll give you exposure, but no money, so.
So we'd have to think about that and then build that into our budget, but I think, these things can be done, and within the context of what's allowed. And, it might be a great way, again, to build awareness for this and create something beautiful out of something that's not so.
And maybe
Beautiful right now.
eventually we could have the friends, maybe there's donors that would maybe support artists to do specific jobs.
Sure. I mean, I think the one thing we're gonna have to do is whatever we get through our own fundraising and through the appropriation process, we'll probably have to figure out ways to augment that in some way. So anyway, that was
a local business, even if it's small, to be like, this piece of work sponsored by.
Yeah.
So there are rules there are some rules that we're gonna have to follow. I'm looking through the rules. It's not too lengthy. It's 3 pages. So it's not too bad, but it's not, there are certain things you can and cannot do. One is you can't paint it, but you can wrap it. So they will allow you to wrap, which is, as far as I'm concerned, just as good. So we've done vinyl installations elsewhere. They're peel on, peel off type things. So they're great. So if, with your permission, I will continue to pursue this and hopefully do something real quick as a quick demonstration, with the first selectman's permission as well.
Hold on here. You do it. He can do it himself. Yeah, okay.
And I'm gonna not come out of your budget. I'm gonna take it out of, the town's budget in my department, downtown improvement, just as a downtown improvement, but I'll credit the Fairfield Arts Council.
On behalf of the commission, we thank you.
And yet, I had one other thing I wanted to, just under new business.
How do you get to new business?
We'll get to new business, tell him.
You still like that, when you start talking about budget, I was going to new business, I said, you get the budget together. You started talking about the budget, you're singing music to my ears. I know it's all about the money. I get something, all these great ideas, we have to have the financing. But yeah, I want to get back to talent, so I'm glad you brought that up under new business, so go ahead, Mark, new business, anything else?
Well, I will come back,
Make sure you put that in the right bucket, the whole conversation.
We have started the budget process for next year, fiscal 25-26. So, I think we can have a more robust conversation at next month's meeting. We're certainly not behind the 8 ball yet, so that's definitely out there. And I did want to also let you know that our supporting arts grant, we did receive another $1,000 this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's from the state.
So I just got the notice from the state. That was it that I had. I know that we had a couple items that we talked about last month, and one was the temporary art installation,
Yes.
so that is possible, as well as the banner display, Lou. Also something we can talk about. I think
Are we
we're
going back to
talking.
whole business again?
I think we're talking about that in the context of
You're killing me.
25,
Yeah.
like next
Down the
year,
road,
right?
yeah.
But
Yeah, we talked about next summer.
conversation with the Parks and Rec director, and he said, sure, temporary installation, we'd have to get the approval of the commission, for which we'll need to put together a little information
Okay.
about it. But that is certainly possible. And again, if that has a funding implication, we want to do it next year. We want to kind of
Start talking about it.
start having that conversation so we can put that into our request. Same with the banner, temporary banner
Okay.
installation.
Sounds good.
So they'll have a budget implication, Charlie.
Yeah, that's why I have money. I gotta go out to Bill's waiting for me to show up in his office, hat in hand. Anything else on the new business?
I actually have a piece of new business that's going into the old business that Michelle and I were working on. And that's on the challenge. One of the things that we came up with Michelle actually was to have a presentation of the challenge prior to the challenge. Okay, so that way it's a presentation, yeah, like after, if we look at, you wanna discuss it? Go ahead. You're good.
She's not commissioner.
Okay, yeah, she has to wait till public, but.
Yeah, you're jumping on, you guys are killing me with this Robert's Rules of Order. You're doing old business on the new business on the old business.
It's like if we
I'm
can.
sure we're all sorted out. I feel bad for you, Lou. I'm trying to help you.
If we can do an auditorium type presentation to describe what the challenge is about, okay, right?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges of getting students to participate in the challenge is if people don't have a really good understanding about what it's all about, what the commitment is, what it entails, because even when, you first look at this is probably confusing to a lot of people, even artists. It's a new way to create, art using like old methods and, combining new, layering. So that's complex. It's really higher order thinking, and many people, artists and everybody else aren't really going to understand it. So we've got to present it in a way. We've got to make this a really exciting experience for, people to engage into. And the only way to do that is to get it's going to end up being the parents of kids who are creative in some way, who encourage their students to actually engage in this. This is what this is all about. And I don't know if you are all aware of this, but basically if you've got, 50 kids that say they're interested, we'll be lucky to get 10.
Right.
Okay, this is how and especially the first time that we do this will be like a real, this is going to be complicated. Plus, this is a time commitment, right? And we're getting into like the holiday season and that kind of thing. But in any event, what'll happen is it will gain momentum because it's like a science fair type of experience. So people will see value in it as time goes on, hopefully. But initially, I think that you're going to need to actually present it in some way. It's got to be a more formal presentation, and it's got to be more of, a clear explanation, because people are going to have to commit to it. If we pass out papers as teachers in school or put it on our Google Classrooms, you will get no real participants in this.
So the two aspects for this is actually preparing and letting people know, finding people who are going to respond, get an idea of how many may come to this, and then figure out what venue we'll do it at based on that, right? Get the numbers in.
Well, the venue is, we can come up with a couple different venue options if you give a window of opportunity, which you've done. I think what's most important here is, it sounds to me like it's going to require a little bit of preparation to develop, what we're going to say at this event. And so I don't know how much time you've allotted, basically a month to do that. Is that enough time to put together this program that you have in mind? Or do we need additional time? And I know we're also bumping into the holidays. So it's really, I always start with where we're going to end up with, when we want to finish, and then back up.
Right.
And so I think you're planning to have the awards ceremony and the winners announced in mid-March.
End of March 21.
Okay, that's kind of mid-March. So is that tied to anything, or can that push later? Is it, it's the school year, right? We're kind of.
Yeah, there's a few key.
The window in the school year.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we're going into the holidays. In December is when Scholastics announces their big events and their big competition. So Scholastic entries are due in December. That's a big thing for the creative folk. Then you've got the end of the semester that happens in January, the end of the first semester. So there's a break, new classes come in, shift in. Then you've got, college applications due April and May. May 8th, the AP tests take place, and then June, of course, the end of school year. So March is like one of those months that, there's nothing real exciting going on. People are leading up to those things, but like you've got a little bit of a lull. And that is how March came to be.
But the actual, when are they due? In March?
We have due date for the March 1st.
March 1st.
Yeah, that would be yes.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, I know you spent a lot of time looking at this and thinking about it, so I'm just really, it's.
I was just a consultant.
No. I think it's very, I had to boil it down to, what is this really? And it's a juried art competition for young people.
Right.
Granted, there's this innovation component.
Right.
Where you're trying to meld different art forms to create something truly unique. But that's what it is at its core. And that's what makes it different than other arts competition, is this innovation piece.
Yeah, almost like a STEAM element, you know, as well.
Exactly.
But we, you know, so I mean, that's why I said, you know, it's almost like a science fair for the arts is what it comes down to, but we
That's
don't.
a good tagline, science fair for the arts. That's kind of.
That is pretty good
tagline.
So it makes sense right away.
People would understand it, and the one component that we added was like a portfolio day. Did you get to that yet, Sam?
No, that would be, you know, but they know about it. We
Okay.
discussed it, but you can, go ahead.
Yeah, because like in regard, like how a portfolio day works, or a.
This would be after they digest a little bit and then.
After they digest a little, they can come into, you know, a venue, and then there'll be like a career fair, and they could go kind of hop from, you know, mentor to mentor or expert to expert.
So instead of schools for the portfolio day, it would be artists?
The artists, yeah, and they'd be,
And
yeah,
then they come to each.
they can come talk with each one and give some
Musician,
input.
it could be an artist, it's all about
Okay, so I
creativity.
can understand how that will work. I have not understood how this is gonna work yet,
And what's gonna work.
this whole thing. So that makes total sense to me, to be able to explain it in that way, because I've been trying to explain it to some of the kids that I think would be really interested in it, and they just look like completely glazed
Yeah.
over.
It's, okay,
Yeah.
we can, yeah,
But no, it's
we
starting.
can bring it
I think
down,
it's starting
okay.
to come together.
All
I
right,
think
that's fine, that's great.
That was a positive comment.
Okay, no, it's all lovely.
Yeah, no,
I agree. This definitely fleshed it out for me a little bit.
You have a little visual.
I don't.
Apparently you glazed her over.
I know.
And that's an art term too. She got glazed.
So anyway, so that was the new business that I wanted to bring up, so as we move this forward.
Is there, how do you feel about taking longer to flush this out and to announce it, just so, like, does it have to be this school year, or could be it next fall, so we have the time to really clarify and plan? Or is it imperative for this school year?
I think they did a lot of work on it, and I think that, like she said, is the first year you're probably gonna cut.
If we get 10 people, then, you know, we get that, fine.
By the second year, that'll pick up.
Exactly, yeah.
Just a thought.
Sometimes that keeps Sam busy.
Sometimes this stuff will take as much time as we allot to it. So if you set a deadline, you say you have to have everything ready by this date, it'll happen somehow.
It's
So
just, you know, build stuff, fail fast.
I agree. I think it's very helpful upfront to have a program where you announce the challenge and define what it is and answer questions in a very engaging type way. And then to follow up with what you called it a portfolio day, but you know, I like the opportunity to kind of workshop this. So you have other artists there and you allow people to kind of circulate and say, yeah, I'm thinking about this and get some feedback.
It's like it's a brainstorm, hands-on brainstorm.
So, yeah, so to market this, how much time do we need to sort of get people to start to say, oh, okay, you know, I mean, you know, it's start to build up.
Usually I try to market things like a month in advance.
Yeah, you don't want to do it too early.
But if you're dealing with kids, in my experience, it's like 6 to 7 times before they
Oh, of course.
actually catch that this is something I want to do.
Yeah.
So we have to think a little bit about the channels that we're gonna use
Yeah.
as part of the messaging here, but
Is there, I don't want to prolong this conversation too much, but is there a way to, like, for us to do a presentation in the schools? That just seems like the best way to get the word out is like, if you did a day at Ludlow, a day at Warren.
There is always a possibility, but the teachers individually would have to approve you coming in to do that. Because we have to teach to the curriculum and we have to stay aligned with the curriculum. So this would be extra, an extra, a voluntary type of project. So
Are we able to get the word out through the schools though?
we could always get the word out. That's never a problem.
Do you have access to private school more?
What if
For
we
what?
did it
Okay, for
in
private
a
schools.
school? If
Yeah,
you're interested, stay after
that's different
school
than
on
spotty.
Wednesday
Okay,
and
good.
do a presentation. That doesn't-
Won't get anybody.
No.
Most likely not. But what you could do is we could do a really snazzy video
Oh,
that every teacher could play through the Google Classroom. We could present it that way.
that's a good idea.
We could also do a Google Meet. So that, the teachers could tune in and, Google Classroom is really of great value. But so we can get a lot out, and then a lot of the parents, especially of younger kids, look at the Google Classroom.
Yes, as a parent of two different students in the Fairfield school system, having a Google Meet or a video would be really, I think, the best way to engage the parents as well, because it's easy and we're used to that.
Right?
For sure.
How do we do the video? How would that work?
That'd be Kevin's department, marketing and.
Okay.
And figure out somebody to record it.
Nice.
well, I think we can figure out how to get the word out and including using video. It's really still on the content piece and who's delivering this, the program itself. So we'll need to flesh that out a little bit more too.
So it would be, the video would go into an assignment. And then in the assignment, we would have right there a little survey or I'm interested in this. Where, you would have a Google form all set up. And then the kids would just, say, I'm interested in this. And then you could even potentially have somehow we could contact the parent there as well, or, they would have to maybe if we could figure that out later, but right there in that assignment would be something where they click I'm interested or I'm not interested or something like that.
So you watch a video and then say if they want to do it.
Yeah, we would have to, figure this out, because there's a lot of privacy issues, of course, with the emails of the kids and all that, but there is some potential here.
Sam, I know you've done a lot of this work with your team, sharing information through a sheet and having people react to that. I do think at some point it might be helpful just to get the group together and to have a conversation, a full-on conversation about this, to get more meat on the bones.
Okay. Yep, and that's,
Happy to help facilitate.
no, that'd be great, because that's exactly what I was gonna lead into. Michelle should suggest that.
Yeah, Michelle is great before, so.
The one thing I will say, I just want to say, you have to be thinking about where we might actually display this work.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm involved with the Pink Pledge. I got involved with the Pink Pledge. We're, doing our part, and we're happy to do our part to help promote the Breast Cancer Awareness Month through the arts. But we struggled to find a place to hang the work. Nowhere in town could we hang the work. Outside of the school system, everybody, didn't have enough space. They said no. So we got a total of 5 panels at the Pequot Library. They were generous enough to donate space for 5 panels front only. So on Thursday, I somehow have to get over 100 pieces of work up on 5 panels, which is never going to happen. So something is going to have to give, but so we have to think about, so we need some space to actually showcase student work somewhere in this town outside of the schools.
They have art all over the place. They can't take it down for a little bit and show.
Where?
Well,
Norma Freem, breast cancer.
we may have to have, move some panels over there, but they have to hang on panels.
Library in the cultural district? No.
But it's.
Yeah, it's part of, south side of the town.
No, that's not, we have.
It's not-
It doesn't have to be in
No,
the.
I know that part, I'm just seeing how we can force, okay, we'll see what happens.
We're having several conversations going on and being recorded. Can we please table that?
Yeah, we'll also see how many entries we have. so that we can start
You want
deciding.
the
That's a
results?
Fairfield, yeah, I want to get the results, that's what I was gonna, you're jumping all over me today.
Yes.
You're rushing to get out of here.
The game starts at 7.
All right, do you have any kind of a tabulation here?
We do. So, in first place is, which number? Number 32, the Artistic Vision Challenge. Is 11 points. I gave, 10 points for first place, 2 points for second place, and 1 point for third place. So the next highest, vote getter was number 21, Arts Around Fairfield with 6 points. So you can see there's quite a separation. 1 and 2. And then we had, in third place was the Great Inspiration Challenge. Inspiration. 5 points, that's number 17. And then we had 2 with 4 points each. Art for Funfield, number 6, and the Youth Art Revolution Contest, number 2. So, the clear winner, at least in terms of votes, we had 3 first place and 1 second place was the Artistic Visions Challenge with 11 points. Is everyone good with that? Or
I'm good with it.
wanna add-
Yeah, it works with the tagline we developed, so.
Science fair for the arts.
Science fair for the arts.
I love it.
Done deal.
Perfect, good job. All right. Anything from public comment? I don't know, Lou, I think we were, I think we had enough, but, anything else? No public comment there? Michelle, you good?
Yes.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
That was good.
Kevin, we have 6:56. Katie, your kids are very quiet.
Another time.
I thought we were gonna have
Oh,
those.
I'm on mute. I'm on mute.
2 months ago.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.